Before Godzilla stomped through Tokyo, before Jurassic Park brought dinosaurs to life, and long before CGI became the norm, there was King Kong, 1933. This isn't just a monster movie, it's a cornerstone of cinema. Imagine sitting in a theater in the 1930s and witnessing a giant ape climbing the Empire State Building. The impact of this movie can't be overstated. Today, we're exploring why King Kong remains one of the most iconic films of all time. But is it just nostalgia that keeps it alive, or is there something deeper to this story? Let's find out. To truly appreciate King Kong, we have to go back to the early 1930s. The Great Depression was at its peak. People were struggling to make ends meet, yet Hollywood provided a much-needed escape. In this context, RKO Pictures decided to take a massive gamble. They wanted to create a spectacle that would draw audiences in droves. That gamble was King Kong. Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schoedsack, the directors of the film, were adventurers at heart. Cooper was inspired by his experiences traveling through remote regions and his fascination with wild animals. He imagined a story about a giant ape living on a mysterious island, brought to civilization with disastrous consequences. From this simple idea, a cinematic legend was born. But let's not forget one of the most important figures behind the scenes: Willis O'Brien, the pioneer of stop-motion animation. O'Brien had already impressed audiences with his work on The Lost World, 1925, but with King Kong, he took the art form to a whole new level. Every movement of Kong was meticulously animated, frame by frame. The process was so labor-intensive that it took months to complete just a few minutes of footage. And yet, the result was nothing short of breathtaking. When King Kong premiered in 1933, it was an immediate sensation. Audiences were stunned by what they saw on screen. The combination of adventure, romance, and terror captivated millions. But it wasn't just the spectacle that made King Kong a hit, it was the emotional depth of the story. At its core, King Kong is a tragedy. It's about a creature torn from its natural habitat and destroyed by a world it doesn't understand. Let's talk about one of the most unforgettable moments in cinema: Kong's first appearance on Skull Island. Picture this, and Darrow, played by Fay Wray, is tied to an altar, surrounded by the eerie sounds of the jungle. The natives chant in the background, building tension. And then, from the shadows, Kong emerges. His roar shakes the screen, and for the first time, audiences are face to face with the eighth wonder of the world. What's remarkable about this scene is how it establishes Kong as both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The animation by Willis O'Brien is so detailed that you can see the subtle movements of Kong's body, the way his fur ripples as he moves, the way his eyes seem to focus on Anne. This wasn't just a technical achievement, it was an emotional one. For a moment, you almost forget you're looking at a miniature model. This scene also sets the tone for the rest of the film. It's not just about action, it's about the relationship between Kong and Anne. While Anne is terrified at first, there's a strange connection that develops between them, one that blurs the line between beauty and the beast. Now, let's move to one of the most thrilling sequences in the movie: the battle between Kong and the T-Rex. This scene is a masterclass in stop-motion animation and action choreography. It's a raw, brutal fight that keeps you on the edge of your seat. What makes this scene so compelling is the level of detail. Notice how Kong uses his environment to his advantage, grabbing branches, dodging bites, and eventually snapping the T-Rex's jaw. Each movement feels deliberate and purposeful. This isn't just a fight between monsters. It's a survival story. The sound design here is also worth mentioning. The roars, the growls, the sound of crashing trees, it all adds to the intensity. And let's not forget the emotional stakes. Kong isn't just fighting for his life, he's protecting Anne. This is where the film truly blurs the line between monster and hero. And now, the scene that cemented King Kong as a cinematic legend. The Empire State Building finale. This is the moment where Kong, the king of Skull Island, becomes a tragic figure. As he climbs the building, clutching and in his hand, he's not just fighting for survival, he's fighting against a world that has rejected him. The use of miniatures and matte paintings in this scene is extraordinary. The Empire State Building looks massive, and Kong's position at the top gives the audience a sense of his isolation. The biplanes circling him add to the tension. Every time Kong swats at a plane, you feel his desperation. And when he finally falls, it's heartbreaking. What's fascinating about this scene is how it transforms Kong from a monster to a victim. When Carl Denham delivers the famous line, "It wasn't the airplanes, it was beauty killed the beast," it's a reminder that Kong's downfall was inevitable. He was never meant to survive in the human world. At its core, King Kong, 1933, is more than a monster movie. It's a story about ambition, love, and loss. It's about the clash between civilization and nature, and the price we pay for our hubris. Even after all these years, Kong's roar echoes through cinema history. What about you? Do you think King Kong deserves its place as the king of monster movies? Or is it just a relic of its time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Science Fiction Journey, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into sci-fi classic. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of science fiction.